Good morning. Welcome back to PT Breakfast Club, the only live show where we sip coffee, talk cash flow, and keep it way too real about building the clinic you actually love. Alongside of me, Dave and Tony. Good morning, gentlemen, with the Eagles mug. I went full Chewbacca with the mug this morning. Somebody gave this to me, and I haven't done dishes in a while, so now I'm pulling out Christmas presents that I haven't actually used yet.
There you go.
Beautiful.
We have a new member of the team today. Did you know this? A full-time member of the team.
Dave is going to...
No PTO, no nothing.
No PTO.
Dave is going to say that this full-time member only gets a 50% vote, though.
That's correct. Although,
Yeah.
although the new member of the team might be 1,000 times smarter than all of us combined. So we had a problem, and of course, I run to AI now to help me solve it. And it turns out AI not only helps me solve it, AI is the answer. Here's what I mean. We have a group chat that we share ideas in, and this is like the best way to do it. This is how I was taught in radio to do it before we had cell phones. You keep like a little pad in your pocket, and you write stuff down. So when you're on the air, you remember what that random thought was when you were in line at the supermarket, so you can talk about it. Otherwise, you're like, I'll remember it, and you won't. We do that with a group chat. We toss ideas and sort of kick them around to see which ones like float to the top. The problem is, we have so many ideas. We probably lose 30% of those ideas. Like that's a conservative estimate, right? Because we forget, and, we cruise in at 8:29. Like, all right, what are we doing now? So we need to hire somebody to organize all that. So I created a custom GPT who is now, the name of the GPT is Max for maximum effort. I wanted a little bit of sauciness. So I added in some like sarcasm for like a little Ryan Reynolds vibe. Because I didn't want it to give it like the standard responses. I wanted to give you a little flavor.
So quick backstory, just hang on one sec.
Yeah.
You just sparked a memory. When I was younger, like in my 20s, Max was always the name I chose. You have to put in a fake name for something.
Right.
Max was always the name I chose. I don't know why. I just imagined if I renamed myself, Max would be the name I would choose. I just think it's interesting that you chose Max. Okay, go ahead.
How did I do that? I don't know. Maybe it knew, right? So I asked Max, I chatted it all up. I'm like, you're a seasoned, live stream producer. You're also a healthcare expert. I gave it the whole background. And I was like, your duties are going to be, I'm going to copy and paste the last 5 days worth of group chat. You're going to sift through it. And then you're going to help me format the show. So now we have a show format. This is crazy.
Beautiful.
So Dave, you've got a segment, profitability problems. We were already working on that. That wasn't Max's idea. That was Dave's idea. So
that was pre-Max,
PM.
Human intelligence.
You're going to have profitability problems once an episode, whether it's 3 minutes or 33 minutes, right? Whatever it deserves, the time it deserves. I'm going to have steal this strategy. That was something I was kicking around because we'll get to that. I'll debut steal this strategy today. Max was like, Tony needs a segment, otherwise it feels unbalanced. So Tony's gonna have to come up with a segment himself. But then we'll start every show off with the big idea, which will be whatever thing we're kicking around in the chat, whatever thing deserves the lead story. Max also suggested that we need to listen to the audience a lot. So we're gonna have mailbag.
Whoa, Max.
We're gonna reach into the mailbag.
Max, don't overstep your boundaries, Max.
Listen, I like the boldness, like suggesting stuff to get on the air right away. And then it said it liked parting shots. I explained parting shots. I said I like it. Closes it up. So the format will be the big idea, segment. Listener mailbag if we have it. A comment like Scott chiming in. Does it have an avatar? Like an image? Not yet, but it should. And now I come from a time where I hear Max and I see Max Headroom, which a lot of the audience is not going to understand. Did I mention this? I was in a meeting the other day with a bunch of us young people, and I dropped a Jerry Maguire reference, and 50% of the room stared blankly. And I was like, I'm out. I'm leaving this meeting. I don't like it because it was a very perfectly timed reference. But anyway, there's the show format. Thoughts?
Yeah, we might have just lost a listener. And I don't remember who it was, but I know there was somebody who kind of scolded me because I referenced ChatGPT as she. I referenced ChatGPT as she because ChatGPT can be very verbose and use lots of words. And it just, to me, it's more feminine the way it communicates. And someone in one of my comments said, do not give AI a
Gender.
down or a reference or whatever. It's a machine. It's a tool. Don't give it human traits. So, we might have just lost a listener, but that's okay.
Yeah. We'll take it. So Max will be joining us, and Max is listening right now. Well, not right now, but we're going to take the transcript of every episode, upload it to our version of Max so he understands what we talked about, because this was the problem I was trying to solve in the beginning. We have all these great ideas and we talk about some of them, and then we go, weren't we supposed to talk about that thing that we teased? And we're like, yeah, I don't remember. So I'll upload that so every week Max knows what we did hit, and we can cross it off the list, and also keep a running list of things that we fling at it. So that was the problem I was trying to solve in the beginning, and I wound up solving side problems, and now we have Max. It needs an avatar, though, Scott. You're right. It needs a picture. I will design that later.
All right. Where are we going?
Well, Max says the big idea. Here's a spicy one. This is one you kick around, and I like what we do is we kick it around in the group chat, or we wind up posting on social media for the world, because the world is just a social lab, a social experiment. And we tag each other in it so we can sort of be part of the conversation. And this is one that Tony kicked out, which was, if Medicare is paying $30 for basic exercises by an entry-level therapist, and anything beyond that, specialized manual skills, advanced neuro techniques, it doesn't get paid more. So Tony, you're saying it should be self-pay, but you're saying this is, I think I labeled this the Costco rotisserie chicken. You're saying if Medicare can be your loss leader to other things, and then people bring in ethics and also just emotions. People pour emotions all over this. So pitch this idea. This is the big idea today.
So, okay, I'm trying, and I've had an interesting conversation with my niece, who's an SLP. She's a relatively new SLP. I'm going to say she's probably 1 year, after out of school. But the idea is, I said, if I am graduating as an entry-level clinician in any of the 3 disciplines with what qualifies me to bill an insurance company, the insurance company by default, in my opinion, is saying, this is the threshold, entry-level knowledge. That is what we are paying for, period. If you want to give our beneficiaries something more, it is coming out of your pocket. Okay. I think therapists can grasp the idea on the product side. They can say, okay, I can do gait training with a gait belt in the floor. I don't need to buy an expensive treadmill. But if my patient wants to use a $30,000 reactive step trainer with all of this innovation and technology, they should have the option to pay for that. I can't make it mandatory. I can't say, I accept Medicare, but you have to pay for this. I can say, I'm a contracted Medicare provider. We can do what Medicare is paying for, and you can pay for something better. I think we can pull that into knowledge. I think we can pull that into services. Take somebody like Dave. Dave has advanced knowledge in manual therapy techniques. Somebody Dave knows from Long Island, David, I can't remember his last name, was talking to me about this. If Dave Kittle pays for new knowledge, new information, advanced, certifications, and has this experience, he should be able to charge, because that is not what Medicare is paying for. That is beyond reasonable and necessary. That goes on the threshold. And so what I'm saying is, okay, Medicare sends us the referral. Look, somebody else posted, and I love what they said. If you look at very busy clinics, I'm not going to use the term busy clinics. You put a patient on a bike, you put a patient on stretches, you put a patient on some basic strength training, they get better. Most of the people do get better with that stuff. They don't need the helicopter therapist who's hovering around them every second of every minute, who's touching them like all the stock photography. That is all beyond what is absolutely required. So my thing is, Medicare is the loss leader. Medicare brings the patient in. We can offer the Medicare covered service, but then our profitability comes on what we offer above and beyond that. You want the premium, you want the best, you want the therapist with experience and knowledge who's going to make it fun and tell you jokes. Awesome. That's an extra couple $1,000s to complete this plan of care. You want what Medicare is paying for, which will still make you better. And this is what I want to hear from you guys. I think too many of us think the standard of care, the threshold, the entry level is not good enough. And it is. I mean, the fact is it is good enough. It's just not as good as what we do. It's not as good as what we want patients to receive.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I think we need to tease apart what we give away for free, which shouldn't, with what Medicare is actually paying for and what we should be charging an additional premium service for.
Yeah.
So I agree, but the challenge is most therapy practices across the country don't have a great person on the phone conveying the difference between, hey, Medicare, and by the way, thank you, Tony. Last week, I just started using the bare minimum. Medicare, it covers the bare minimum. You sound like someone who would want not the bare minimum, more than the bare minimum. So anyway, we're using that. So that's a sidebar we can come back to. But I agree. I agree with this. But therapy practices across the country are not trained. They're not prepared. They're not able, typically, unless you're working with Sturdy McKee, Jerry Durham, Jamie Schreier, whoever like that has a formal front desk process that where you're trained in persuasion, psychology, sales, human behavior, right? So most practices are just like they're taking Medicare, they're billing Medicare. We've talked about it a ton of times on the show. And no one's doing this. I know you're kind of doing it, Tony, but like no one else is doing it as far as I know, where they're just charging Medicare like one unit. And then they're saying like, oh, but your goals are this, this, and this. And these would be outside of what Medicare pays for. And this will be an extra 30, 60, 90, $100 or $200, whatever per visit out of pocket, and just charge Medicare one unit, because most of these practices are just billing companies and they're just billing Medicare and they're billing all the insurances. That's my thoughts. I think Jimmy was going to chime in. What do you think?
Before I let Jimmy go, because I want to hear what Jimmy says. Every time I introduce a new concept or reintroduce the same concept, every objection, totally legitimate. Like that is an absolutely legitimate objection, but it is not an objection to the fundamental premise. The fundamental premise is, look, we've made a mistake. We as clinicians, as therapists, as practice owners, we have given away everything in exchange for the minimum compensation when Medicare is not even asking us to do all of that stuff. There is nothing in the required guideline that says you need to give my patient the absolute best of everything you have available to you for minimum compensation. Medicare is saying this is what we are paying for, period. And then we make the choice to give up, to sacrifice, to do this stuff. Your objection is 100% accurate, but it is not an objection to the fundamental premise. So then you say, okay, what hopefully I am referencing is accurate. These are the roadblocks. How do we overcome those roadblocks? And that's the beauty of business. That's the best thing of what we can do is we say, okay, now you're right. How do we communicate that value? Somebody said in one of the chats, hey, my Medicare beneficiaries won't pay for more than what Medicare covers. Well, it's because you're attracting and marketing the wrong message to the wrong people. I think the easiest way is you offer something that people aren't expecting Medicare to pay for. Then you flip the script and you're like, hey, this is a $3,600 episode of care. This is what I recommend. But guess what? Medicare is actually going to pay $1,200 of the $3,600. Yeah. So you're only going to have to pay this little amount that's remaining. Like, that's amazing. The person who's not expecting Medicare to pay, who then gets the benefit of Medicare, that's the easiest person in the world. Then you can start going upstream and you can say, okay, how do I communicate value? How do I change what I'm selling? Jimmy, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask, how do you communicate this? Because I feel like how you communicate it would change how it felt. And there it is, right? It was making me think of a clip I just saw, because I lay in bed for another 20 minutes when my alarm goes off. I don't jump out of bed, right? And I saw a clip this morning from Rory Sutherland, and he was talking about
it's Tony's guy.
Yeah. He was talking about luxury hotels. So imagine you show up to a luxury hotel and you're standing in the ornately decorated lobby, and you show up there at noon knowing check-in's at 3. And they say you can't check in right now because it's noon and check-in's at 3. But if you give us $100, you can check in. That idea was rejected. because the concept is I've paid so much for the room already that you're going to hit me. The room's empty. You've just told me it's empty. If I give you the $100, you're going to let me in. You've got a locked empty room. That idea didn't work. They tried it. What they did was they went to booking and said for $70, you can check in 3 hours early. And they went, oh, that's fine. Because the idea was someone's going to have to work harder and faster to clean the room faster. So it's the same concept. They just did what Tony was talking about, which is they flipped it over. They said, oh, you can get more if you pay us early. So it's similar, not exactly the same, but that's the idea, is how you frame it.
So you look at surge pricing, right? Wendy's
Correct.
came out and said, well, they didn't say this, but I'm going to charge more when we're busy. Horrible idea. But if you charge more across the board and then you discount when you're slow, everybody loves it. It's right. If 10 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. is packed, I raise all of my prices for every appointment, but then I reduce prices at 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, I'm a hero. Right. But if I raise prices on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m., I'm a villain. Listen. Same exact outcome, and this is where like behavioral psychology, behavioral economics, I love this whole concept. What were you going to say?
Can I give you a real world example that has bothered me since I was a student in 2013?
Let's hear it.
The PT Political Action Committee. You're great. You do stuff. I don't know what the stuff is, but it's stuff I don't want to do. And you give money and that makes PT advance somewhere in Washington, right? I know enough. They walk around at CSM in the red jackets, right? And they're trustees. And their pitch since I was a student was, if you just give up one latte a week and donate that money to the PAC, we'd be the strongest PAC in the world. And I'm like, that is the shittiest argument ever, because it comes at it from the wrong way, which is give up something that I value to get something else that's sort of ambiguous. I don't directly see it. So this is something this is what I've said, change your framing of your argument and you'll have more donations. Like flip it. I'm trying to think, so what would be a good flip of that instead of give up your latte? Dave's signaling.
I got a potential flip. All right. So how much does APTA cost? Like I'm no longer a member, but
it's like $500.
$500. Let's say, I don't know, Tony may or may not like this. Let's say right now, if I were to go sign up, if they implemented this via Max, via Kittle, via Max, the AI assistant, and then APTA enacted it right away the same day. We go to sign up. I go to re-sign up for APTA. I'm going to join. I'm going to rejoin, let's just say. And you're saying it's $500. Let's say all of a sudden it's $575 right now. And if I click a little box that, let's say, I don't know, $50 or $100 of that, let's say $75 of that is going to go to the PAC. That's the only way I can sign up is I click the box. $75 is going to go to the PAC, and then I get a discount off the membership. So let's say it's $600. Make it easy. $600 right now. It used to be $500. It's $600 today. It says, but get this for $500, and we're gonna donate $50 to the PAC. So I click it. I pay $500, the same as yesterday.
Yes.
$50 goes to the PAC. Now they just converted me. So they took me from a higher price expectation to I get a discount if I do a thing. Now money gets diverted potentially to PT PAC. Yes. And I re-sign up for APTA. What do you think of that?
I love it. Now, the only asterisk I would put is I'm not smart enough. Someone will correct me. There's like rules about money. Like
yeah, I know that.
But yes, that is the idea.
If that in a vacuum, if that seems to exist.
Well, it's the opposite of the nickel and dime approach, which is like just sell me when I have my credit card out, give me one price. I have a woman who comes in, she's fantastic. She cleans my house. And I was like, hey, I want to do a spring. Like she does a normal cleaning, but I was like, it's spring. Let's zhuzh the place up. And she's like, well, I charge $10 per window and an extra. And I was like, just give me one price. And she's like, well, I'm doing the math. I'm like, then just give me the bottom of the math, because I don't want to feel, I don't want to be like, dude, she cost me $10 a window. That one's small. That one wasn't even dirty. Just give me one price. How much to solve all of the problems?
Oh, if you're a mobile physical therapist, here's how to say it easily over the phone. You could say, well, it's $500 a visit. for a mobile visit. However, if you're closer in distance, it's
Oh,
$250 per visit. And then you're like, oh, so by the way, let me pull up Google Maps. What's your address? What's your street intersection? I can pull up my therapist commute right now on the phone. Oh
that's
yeah,
the
it's only going to
Uber.
be 250. It's going to be 250 a visit. Now
That's
250 sounds like a deal because I price anchored you at 500.
What are the people saying when you posted this, Tony, about what's like the pulse of people like agreeing, disagreeing, and if they because here's my guess. People tie an emotion to this, and all they want to do is, well, if they have Medicare, I want to charge them nothing. And I'm like, great. And then you can charge them nothing. And then 3 years from now, if your clinic doesn't exist, nobody gets help. That's where I think it's going to go.
So most of the resistance comes from, and Dave hit it. It's like, well, my patients won't pay anything. And I'll give you guys a classic example.
They're used to not paying.
Yeah, because you have trained and created the animal, the monster that we're trying to, transform. It's just like Bed Bath & Beyond. When that used to be a thing, you would get the 20 or 30% off, postcard. Nobody would ever go. Kohl's. My wife loves Kohl's. She will never go to Kohl's unless she has the 30% off. Even when she gets a 20% off, I'm like, you realize that it's 10% difference. No, it's not a 30. She will not go. So Kohl's has created the monster that only with a 30 will my wife go to Kohl's. So when we look at this, we're so ingrained in everybody says no, but it's just because that's the community that we've been working so hard to treat.
Right.
And we have the mindset of, well, insurance has to pay for everything. We've been brought up that way.
Right.
But I shared a post yesterday. I shared a bunch of posts. One of them was, okay, look, if you can increase per visit revenue to 250 and you're a mobile clinician. So if you're doing traditional Medicare, you're getting $100 a visit. You're doing 30. I think it was 30. The post has it. If you go to 250 in revenue, you only have to do, I think it's like 20 or something, 15 or 20 visits, right? And so I'm like, look, you free up 15 visits a week that you could do completely for free. You make the same revenue as like 125,000 a year, single owner operator, mobile therapist, no staff, no overhead, very lean operation. I was like, all you have to do is raise average revenue to 250. Now, you can do 250 with a mobile visit, but you can also say, hey, my normal rate is 250, but if you have Medicare covers 100 of that. So you're actually only paying 150. The 150 goes to cover the advanced certifications, the advanced technology I'm bringing, all of that kind of stuff. And as a case example, I've got a patient who's been a patient of mine for years now, Medicare beneficiary. This patient's husband heard about SoftWave. The patient came in saying, hey, my husband's been researching SoftWave. We really want to do it. How does this work? I was like, yeah, absolutely. It's not a covered service under Medicare. It's $500. You get one treatment a week. We've got great results. Patient said, oh, I don't want to do that. Meanwhile, no problem. I was like, that's fine. We can just do Medicare covered services. Everybody else who walks in the door sees the Facebook ad that says $500 for 28 days of SoftWave. They have no issue because they're coming in expecting to pay. Right. And then they find out the additional stuff is actually also available through insurance. So you've got the 500 cash plus the insurance covered plan of care, but they came in with the framework of this is not covered. I want this. They said it was $500. I'm ready to pay, and you guys see the post that I'm putting out. Right. I'll take your grandma or grandpa to a Reds game down in Cincinnati. I'll take grandpa or grandma fishing. I'll do, meet them at home after discharge from a knee replacement. None of those things are covered. I put a $1,500 price tag on some of them, a $500 price tag on others. I am putting it out there to frame this right from the start as this is an amenity. It is not a covered benefit.
I think when you change the wording, you change the value. And I know people are going to say this just word tricks. I was doing some shorts on some Chris Voss techniques, and I got one or two comments that are like, this is just like mental Jedi stuff. Like it's the same thing, different words. And I'm like, yeah, Louboutins are just shoes. Why does one sell for, I don't know, a lot. I don't even know how much they cost. A lot more than Payless. Did you ever see the Palessi thing?
Yeah.
Right? We talked about that, right? So if you change the imaging, you change the value. So I don't know, man. When someone's done with this, my guess is they feel better because they're like, oh, I was going to pay this, but now I paid less. Yes, it's 3 + 2 is the same as 2 + 3, except I feel better.
At every price point, Dave, you have more experience, but I have to think at every price point, people like to feel like they saved a little bit.
Yeah.
People like to feel like they weren't being taken advantage
I don't
of.
know. I don't know. I don't know because we don't want to offer discounts, and if people ask for discounts, we say no. Like the rate is the rate, and those people typically we give them an off ramp because I don't want someone haggling. This, by the way, this is not a flea market. This
Sure.
is my practice. Like you think you can haggle just because it's not like a quart of milk or some frozen fruit in a bag at the grocery store that's $4.50. You can't haggle that. So on the phone with me, I don't understand why you think you can haggle. And in fact, if you ask for a cheaper price, I'm about to raise it. I'm about to say, you know what? You just dinged yourself. Now it's $100 more per visit.
So real quick, before we got on live, I was telling Jimmy, Dave, I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen all the Chinese manufacturers that are mainly on TikTok coming out saying, we build your Louis Vuitton purse. We create your Lululemon yoga pants. We are the factories. So this is the big movement right now on TikTok. Those factories, because of tariffs and politics, they're coming out and they're saying, hey, we do 80% of the work for your luxury products. If you want those luxury products at a fraction of the price with the same quality, come straight to us.
Dupes.
The problem is, to Dave's point,
two different
that's
people.
not what people are paying the premium for. It's not about the product. It's about the brand and about the identity of the person.
Status. They want to be able to say they paid the full price. It's status too, and ego.
It's up here and life changing. Yep. I want to be able to say this is affiliation and belonging.
So this goes to Jimmy's point about memberships with any organization. It doesn't matter. I'll go back to, we started doing a fundraiser for our kids' elementary school. The people who go to, we raised $150,000 each year for different projects we want to do. This is sports and boosters for elementary school. It's a dinner. It's one night, $150,000. Those people could have just given that money to the school. There's no reason that we had to do the dinner, but it's the theater, it's the experience, it's all of it around it. And I would say it's a mistake for an organization, APTA or otherwise, to try and convince members that they're going to save on discounts and you get cheaper TheraBand and you get these benefits and all this other stuff. If you just give us the $500 for the membership, forget it. Just go to live events, do one monthly live event in a different city or whatever, make it a huge, extravaganza, bring the people who feel good, feel smart. We just had one, somebody paid $7,000 in an auction for a doodle, one of the, little mini doodles, a dog. And it made them feel amazing that they were paying this money for this dog that probably somebody else could have bought for a couple $100. But that's where you find the people who want to spend the money. Let them spend the money, let them feel smart and good about it. Then everybody else gets the benefit.
Yep.
Let me charge a couple people thousands of dollars, and then shoot, if I'm a good guy, I will see other people who can't afford thousands of dollars for free.
Correct.
And I think that's where you see the rubber hit the road, because what you're going to find out is maybe you're not as good as you think you are. If you're not the one doing the free services, when you have all that extra money coming in, then you got to check your ethics, but it's just so much easier to just sit at $100 a visit, complain about the powers that be controlling everything. Last thing, I know I'm hogging all the time. Then I want to go to Dave's segment.
It's all good.
I get people who are like, you got to fight and you got to protect it and you got to do this and this is your responsibility. Look, guys, I get it. There's lobbies and we can lobby Congress to change Medicare reimbursement. That's going to take, it's been 25 years. I've never seen it happen, but maybe it's going to happen next year. I could switch tomorrow. I could literally switch to, I could switch today. Right now, I can put a post on Facebook, switch my pricing, switch my profit model, switch everything. And by tomorrow, I could have more cash in my bank account. Like, what do you think I'm going to do? I am not going to fight Congress when I can make a change right now, this minute, that affects the bottom line. The question is, what happens if I do it and it doesn't work?
I pitched an idea to APTA, quadrant the United States, Seattle, Texas, something in the Southeast, New York, and do an event and just keep quadranting the country, because what people want is belonging. They're not buying the discount on New Balance shoes. Like, they're not. That's not why they're showing up. So give the people what they want. Let them eat the cake, which is belonging. They want to get together with people and rah-rah. And the only time that you can do that is CSM. And I think that's a mistake. Yes, anding to your school event, I took part in roasting a politician last night. So this is a buddy guy. This is my brother's best friend, right? He's Assemblyman Brian Marr. He has a 40th birthday, and I got to give him credit. As a politician, he could have just threw a bougie, $500 a plate thing or whatever and brought a bunch of, bougie people together. He rented out a theater and allowed people to roast him. And that's actually David Lucas, who's on the Kill Tony podcast. Have you heard of the Kill Tony podcast? It's this comedy podcast, and this harsh, like, dark humor. It's funny, but like some of it, we cannot play any clips on this show. But it's such a good idea. He took this concept that's been going around on Comedy Central for a little while now. Like, comedy got back into the roasting of Rob Lowe and Tom Brady and the whole nine. But if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, he made it benefit this event called Honor Flight, which sends veterans to DC to enjoy the monuments and be recognized. So I think it's a yes and. All the people in the audience could have just wrote a check, but he gave them a little bit of a show. And then, of course, he used connections to, like, leverage things, right? I mean, there's my brother on the left DJing, right? I was the disembodied voice on the microphone, giving a little zings here and there, right, as I introduced the guests. So I think you have to give before you ever – this is jab, 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 right hook from Gary Vee. All right, time to shift gears. Profitability problems.
Real quick, final comment on that is you can come to New York City. I'll take you. We can go down to Canal Street. We can go and get – Fendi, Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Burberry, Dior, Balenciaga. We can get all these purses and wallets that are fake, that are knockoffs.
Dupes.
And the difference between someone across the country in a practice that has a Medicare beneficiary that is coming most of the time, I want to say most of these folks, that has been coming to your practice for months, if not years, it is pushing a boulder uphill to try to get them to all of a sudden pay more to pay out of pocket. It's two different people. The people that come and shop at Canal Street to get knockoff Prada, Gucci, whatever purses or wallets or whatever other, luxury leather goods, they're not the ones that are going to the actual stores to buy the real thing. It's two different consumers. That's the difference. And physical therapy has all these Medicare beneficiaries across the country that have been using their Medicare benefits, and they want to continue for as long as they're on this earth to use those Medicare benefits. And the people that pay out of pocket, like the folks that we sometimes stumble across that work with us, that pay out of pocket when they have Medicare, it's two different consumers.
Is it two different consumers, or is this like that scene from the Avengers? It's a different time. If you had gotten that person 10 years ago and taught them this, like if you had presented it differently, they might think differently. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know Tony, what do you think? I mean, maybe someone can go from the Medicare insurance mindset, and then they have a couple bad experiences, not at Tony's office, of course, but like other offices where it's like they change the therapist every visit. The time of the treatment duration is different every visit. The person becomes accustomed to getting frustrated, and their expectations are not met. Then they could say, they could ask around, they could look around, what else is around? And then some people are like, well, there's some therapists that charge $200-$300 a visit, but you got to pay out of pocket. And then it's one-on-one, and they could quote unquote graduate or transition to that. Not many people are going to get there.
I agree. Not many people are going to get there. I do think it's a different consumer. I also shared that post that said, look, what if Medicare paid the beneficiary and not the therapist? What if Medicare said we would normally spend $100 or $1,000 or whatever I'm just going to give it to you, Mr. Beneficiary. You choose where you're going to spend that money. How many of those people would just keep the money? I'll deal with the back pain. I'll take the $1,000 that you would have spent on therapy. How many of them would go to another specialty, another option? I think the reality is most of the people that are coming into physical therapy today are coming because their doctor told them to, and it's covered by insurance, and so we don't have something that they want. We don't have something that they're desperate for. And that's what I'm trying to change. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's what leads to profitability problems. So let's hear about what, profitability problems are from the great Dave Kittle.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, so this one post from Chris Miller, it's public.
Yeah.
Jimmy did say, hey, this could be a topic on the show. Chris Miller down in Florida, he said he's created a new type of PT clinic that's already gotten rave reviews from elite business minds in the PT space. He knows that it's great. His clients love it. Here's his problem. He said, I'm not running a great business. Debt, missing payroll, struggling with marketing are problems I don't know how to fix. I've taken so many courses and worked with coaches who are great. The problem is me. My ADHD brain sucks at boring tasks. I just need help. Some business owners have criticized me for saying that, but I agree with him here.
Yeah.
It's self-awareness that comes from decades of struggles with schoolwork, projects, tasks similar to those required to running a business. I would love to have a business partner or investor who is good at the business piece and who believes in what I'm doing, because I know that's the missing piece to building something truly great. Who is the best business person you know? I want to speak with people smarter than me about how to find a partner to help so we can grow it together. Now, I know we're talking about profitability problems on this segment. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I can't find it, but one of the comments that Chris said, of course, people chimed in with like a million different suggestions as these Facebook groups go. I think someone suggested a couple different things. Like one was like a fractional person, operations person, but he commented back somewhere. I want to try to find it. There's like 35 comments. One of the comments that Chris replied, he said, yeah, I know, but I can't afford that. Like whether it was a team member, an operations person, someone that would come in. I can't find the exact quote, and I hope it's not from a different Chris Miller post. I think it was from this one. I want to make sure I'm quoting him properly.
Can I say something first? Like, kudos on Chris for being super honest and vulnerable, because I bet you there's 1,000 other people who are thinking the same thing while they post like really great highlight videos of themselves in their clinic. So Chris, like, that's a big deal, being super honest.
Definitely. Absolutely. So am I off base by saying that follow-up comment? I'm trying to find it.
I can't.
That he said he can't afford it unless he posted something else recently at like some other post. But
he said someone said, huge respect for your honesty. As someone who's worked in healthcare consulting and business management for a few years, I can tell this level of self-awareness is rare and a strength, not a weakness. They suggest a fractional COO or business manager, an equity-based strategic partner, or outsource the gaps temporarily. And he said, for number one, I need capital to be able to afford a fractional COO. For number two, 100% open and willing to offer equity. And number three, again, don't have the money to do any of these.
Okay, so that's why this is profitability problems, this segment, respectfully, Chris. But again, a ton of kudos to him, self-awareness, and just putting this out there. Not easy. Love it. Love to see it. That's why he's successful to the point where he is right now. But if you like something we need to maybe dig into this. We have him on the show in the future or whatever, but like maybe something's not fully dialed in where there's not enough extra profit to figure out some of these solutions. So if you don't have the capital to bring on like a Tony Maritato or whoever, like, I'm not saying Tony wants to do this, but like if you want to have someone who's like a seasoned business person to come in and help with operations or pay for, a coach like Jamie Schreier, Sturdy McKee, whoever, then there is some profitability component to this to get yourself out. Cause it's either you have to do it on your own time, your own dime, or you have to bring in someone that is better than you, that's been there and done it, but he doesn't have, it's like the conundrum of like, he doesn't have the money to
catch 22.
Get someone. Yeah. So that's the challenge. What do you think, Tony?
I was, and I've known Chris for a long time, and he reached out to me through Messenger, and When I saw him share that post in Uncaged Clinicians, my immediate concern was, I feel like Chris is stuck, like so many of us, in that like limbo between, okay, I can't do it all myself. I know my limitations. I know my deficits. But I also can't afford to hire people to do it for me. So maybe I'm going to try and find a solution in partnership, but that's definitely not a solution here.
Why?
I'm going to say twofold. One is, if you're not profitable enough for you, why would a partner come in? Because you're looking for them to bail you out, and that's just, it's not going to happen. I've never seen it happen. And two is, and this goes to a post that somebody had shared looking at Athelis. And I think when somebody is looking for, solutions to problems, and I've realized this about myself, you think, oh, I'm going to buy this thing, or I'm going to do this thing, and it's going to solve my problems. It's not. You have to solve your problems first. And then you like attract the right people, and the right people come into the organization. So to Chris's situation, he's in this limo, and Joey Alberton, we've talked about this on the show before. It's like, you could probably get away with small one person, making a living, or you go to 5. You don't live in like the 2 or 3 zone clinician wise, because it's just not profitable enough. I think Chris is looking for a solution. I don't think the solution exists. So now he makes a decision. He says, okay, I'm going to do this. And I know he said, I've used coaches, I've had great mentors, I've done all this stuff. I just hate it. So you say, okay, how are you going to find the profit? Where is the profit going to come from? Or do I just shift gears? Do I try to sell what I've got? Maybe somebody's going to come in and just buy the equipment. And do I go back to just being an employed therapist? I don't think he wants to do that. So for my wife and I, we made an investment. We learned how to run a business, but we had to step out of patient care. We had to stop being the therapist. We had to put all of our effort into being the business owner and building the business. If Chris does not want to do that, even though it's something he doesn't enjoy, then, I don't think bringing a partner in is going to do it, because you're not going to attract a good partner.
Yeah. I think Chris is smart enough to understand that it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. He understands that. Like, he can see that. There's that Taylor Swift reference that we get to make. So what I was going to say is 2 things. Number 1, understand what game you're playing. Chris is trying to play clinical game and business game, and those are 2 different games. He's probably very good at one of them, and he's admitting he's not good at the other one. Bringing on someone, like you said, for equity or money, you don't have it, so there's not a choice. And again, if you're not profitable with one, why would you be profitable with 2? You're not. My suggestion, because I want Chris to walk away with something tactical, is I'm going through this whole 6 types of working genius. Have you heard about this? It's one of those like paradigms or frameworks that explains why certain people succeed in certain situations. Chris sounds a lot like me, where he's not good at those tactical, those tedious things, as the 6 types of working genius would call it. You find one of those people. And I think the cost-effective way to do it now, which is what I'm beginning to do, is a virtual assistant. So if Chris was like, this is the clinic I'm going for, you need to sit down and turn your ADD off for a little bit, figure out and list all those tedious things that Chris was mentioning, because he listed them. He knows what he's bad at. My ADD brain sucks at boring tasks. I know what needs to be done. Chris, you doubling down, this is not a muscle you're going to get stronger at. This is your personality. I can say this because Chris is me. I'm looking at you, Chris. Chris, this is me. Bring someone on, but cost effective. In my opinion, it's a virtual assistant, because you can do it for like $12 an hour.
Another challenge that he put in the chat here in the comments on the Facebook group in Uncaged Clinician is that he already started the business, or at some point took out an SBA loan, right? So not completely bootstrapped before. Yeah. Like and listen, there's pros and cons either way. Tony, you started with a loan at some point, or no?
No, we never did a loan.
10 grand or something?
Yeah, 10 grand, and I borrowed I had saved 10 grand, borrowed the rest from my mom.
Yeah. So at this point, like, he can't it doesn't sound like he has enough profit, enough cash flow to take out a loan right now because he's already paying the debt service. He's saying debt. He wrote debt, missing payroll, struggling with marketing or other problems. So he's already paying debt service, monthly debt payments back to this SBA loan from when he started. I don't remember when he started. I think he's been around for at least a handful of years with his practice, but he can fill in the gaps for us. So he can't do it. He can't take out another loan right now because most banks are going to say, well, like, it's too risky. You don't have enough cash flow. You're obviously making the minimal, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're making the minimal debt payments on the current initial loan. So now you can't take an SBA or a commercial debt loan out right now on top of what you already have. Again, because of the cash flow challenges. And some practice owners can get to this point where they're like, everything was bootstrapped and it was just, your own sweaty startup kind of thing. And now he could be at a point to take out a business loan, but he already has the first one. So again, it's just, this is the current conundrum and challenge for him.
I just think it's one of those deals where he's finding and he's searching for that high profit margin service or product, because I can be, and I'm going to talk about myself, I can be very inefficient, very flighty. I can jump from idea to idea, but until I find that high profit, cash cow, that ATM that just prints cash very easily, I can't be ADHD and jump from project to project and be poor. I have to have, like a foundation of income there. Yep. So I think all of us agree, like this whole idea of the 24-hour access and the golf simulator and the stuff, you're onto something. What may help is to say, okay, what are the things I can get off of my plate, not put on a virtual assistant? I personally have never been able to hire a virtual assistant. So I'm just saying, I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. I think it's just, I'm just not going to do it. If this is the stuff that's taking 80% of my time and producing 20% of the revenue, I am just not going to do that stuff. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that.
He's talking about like things like tasks that need to get done, like paying for stuff like that needs to get done. So then like, that's not want, that's need. You're saying he has to do it. Put your headphones on and take your ADD meds for a hot 20 and then get it done and suck it up.
I mean that, or, you automate payments.
That's what I would virtual assistant or automate is like the stuff that you're like, just do it. Like, just like for me, it's podcast editing. I could do it, but I don't want to spend 2 hours doing it. So I took each episode. So I spent 2 hours teaching someone how to do it. And then I said, I'll give you a Google Drive link every time. And that's done. And
thing is, he said payroll. I don't know that he has.
He's the only guy. Yeah. I don't know.
Now, I know he talked about the stretching. He's got a person doing stretching, but like something like that. How much money, if he's not the one doing it, which I think he does it also, but if he has somebody in his facility doing stretching, you're making pennies on the dollar for something like that. And that is a stressor. That is something that is sucking energy and time. No matter how much you think it's not, depending on the way it's structured, it probably is more of a drain than an asset. So like that would be one of those things that are just wipe out. I'd wipe out all of the little things that are just draining the battery and just focus on the one biggest opportunity that's you can accelerate exponentially. Working an hour and getting paid $100, working 2 hours and getting paid $200, that is not acceleration. It needs to be, I work an hour, I get 100. I work 2 hours, I get 400. I work 3 hours, I get 1,200.
Right.
It has to be that.
For potential easing of this challenging crossroads that he's at, Tony, and also potentially helping with cash flow, would you also maybe suggest, or would you think this is a possibility to going back to that golf simulator, instead of pitching like that monthly membership, maybe you make it, I don't know, 1,000 or 2 or 3,000 or something, but you get like unlimited access for the next 12 months or 24 months or something. So you get cash up front to outsource some of this. You can catch up, hire an assistant, when you have cash, you have the buffer.
Right.
So could you get some of that cash up front? And then, assuming you create like a Calendly link or something where people are not double booking for the slots for the golf simulator, and selling $1,000, $2,000, 12-month golf rejuvenation program, whatever you want to call it. You get cash up front, and then the people are not using they're not using the full service right away. They're going to use it over time. What do you think of that?
Yeah. I would do it like I was at a WeWork. It's called The Yard. It's like a WeWork sort of knockoff. And like those things were valuable because like you didn't just say you get square footage or you get access whenever you want. It was like there's snacks and there's free beer and there's free whatever. Like, so yeah, like understand the psychographic of who's going to use that. Hey, by the way, if you get membership, you can bring 3 friends. No problem. Up to 3 friends. A foursome, right? That makes it feel more valuable. Like I buy one, but I get to sneak my friends in. And by the way, there's 6-packs in the whatever. Like some people are going to abuse it, right? Figure out how to just weigh heavy on that. So at first I didn't like the idea. And then I was like, hang on a second, understand the psychographic. Now we're talking about what Chris should do. Someone also threw a comment in there, and I want to make sure that Chris understands that I think you should at no point do this. Someone suggested, hey, why don't you throw some pickleball stuff in there? Could you do pickleball? Why don't you? Pickleball is a big thing.
Yeah. You don't need a new
My man,
article.
You need less, not more. I'm not doubting the success of pickleball, but Chris, you are pickleball or you are golf. I know that there's going to be some crossover, but you are pickleball or golf. Chris, you're golf. Do not touch that pickle. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. Don't think about it. Be friends with the pickleball. Have someone else be the pickleball girl in the community, and then you guys hang out, but don't touch that pickle.
Yeah, and he said that he's done like hosted events and had, but that's where I think you have to double down, triple down, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, like fundraising events, Yes. I mean, that's where you get 10,000 in cash right now. And there's no payroll, there's no other obligations going on. It's just that one big cash outlay.
Yeah. Do we have time to do my segment or?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So it's called Steal the Strategy. This is when I just scroll the internet and I find things that I'm like, ooh, this is kind of cool. This is a found idea. Have you gotten text messages like this? Someone told me it's because somebody's gotten hacked and my data has been hacked because now I get this. And I get it in New York. So it's specifically this. Easy Pass, which is our version of Fast Pass or somewhere in the country. So I'll read it for the podcast audience. I get this text message the other day. Easy Pass final reminder. You have an outstanding toll. Your total account balance is outstanding. Not in a good way. It's outstanding, not great. If you fail to pay before April 22nd, shoot, guys, that's today. You will be penalized or subject to legal action. Now payment and a link. Please reply why. And it goes into more like, just boilerplate text message, which sort of makes it look and feel legit. Please settle your toll immediately after reading this message to avoid penalties for delaying the payment. Thank you for your cooperation. So this is a scam, everybody. I had to remind my dad, like he was getting these 2 years ago. And I'm like, this is not real. Easy Pass does not do this. Don't worry about it. They're going to get their money. It's not this way. But I thought this was a really, really great example, ironically, of good copywriting. Like they really, really thought there's urgency there. We can go through a couple of the terms, right? Like Easy Pass, final reminder. All of a sudden you have my attention. This is an example of every line has a specific purpose. The headline is to get your attention, right? Because that first came off as a notification on my home screen, right? Understand that. That's the only thing that I could see. So of course I opened it. Final reminder. What is this? You have an outstanding toll. Your total account balance is outstanding. These are hitting negative emotions. Red alert signs are going off in me, right? This is clickbaity. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate scammers. Hate the idiots that fall for this. Like that's the reason these guys keep doing this, but they are doing it well. So I was sort of breaking this down and I was saying, well, like, okay, we can touch on all the emotional triggers. This looks legit, so it mirrors something. That's why it's a scam. That's not why it's good. But it touches emotional triggers. They give me a call to action. I got this 2 days ago, and it's saying you have like 2 days to settle this up, or you'll be penalized or subject to legal action. I understand the stakes. There's tension in this story, and I haven't even hit paragraph number 2. And they close pretty much with a call to action. Now, not great grammatically. Now payment link. So we can see all the emotional triggers, why this is good copywriting, because idiots fall for it. Stop falling for this. Stop falling for this, and they'll stop doing it. but I wanted to end with something tactical. How could you use this same type of clickbaity strategy for good in your clinic? And I've got 3 examples. How about we touch on emotional urgency? That's an emotion. We can use this for good. Hey, Steve, don't let that old injury sneak back in. Quick checkup slots are filling fast this month. Lots in now. This way you get to feel urgent, but caring and not sleazy, and you're not threatening them with legal action, right? How about scarcity and action? Specialized dry needling sessions available. Only 10 spots left this month. First come, first serve. Get yours today. Leverages urgency without lying. There are 10 slots. Or pressuring unfairly. You're not threatening legal action or that you're going to sue them. And the final example would be something that maybe Chris could do. You could send a text message or an email to your list. We're launching something new that's going to change the move. VIP early access open for the first 15 patients. Details, click here. Gives a little FOMO and curiosity to drive action. Use these concepts for good. Clickbait is neither, the strategies are neither good nor bad. They are tools. And I know we have such bleeding hearts. We can't wait to just over-explain, understand what's good about clickbaity strategies, and use it for good and not evil. Steal that strategy.
I love the second point. I think it was about what I took from it was almost like using less words. Like when they send these scammer text messages, I mean, it's not an email. In an email, we're all accustomed to writing too many words, too many adjectives, too many words that have 3, 4, 5 syllables. In these text messages, it's very low reading level. It's
on purpose.
It's like on purpose. It's very direct. It's the least amount of words possible to convey everything that you discuss. Like, what is it? What's going on? What's the call to action? Why is there urgency? And using the least amount of words. I love this. I mean, obviously we don't love the stupid scammer text messages, and fortunately people fall for it and then lose money. Yep. But it is a great example of copywriting and how to convey something and get someone to take action on something you want them to do with the shortest amount of words.
Yeah. I mean, there's another good example of you mentioned the reading level is lower, or there are misspellings for a reason. Have you guys seen these kinds of signs in your neighborhood? We buy houses. Sometimes you see them in handwritten. We buy houses cheap. They're dumbed down because they're looking for idiots. They're looking for people who have a house, who need to sell it quickly. Is this a scam? Yes, it's a scam. They're going to buy your house quickly, way less than its value that it's worth, and then they're going to flip it and take their time and sell it because they have money.
I don't know if that's a scam. Is that a scam, Tony?
I would not say that is a scam. I would not.
Hold on a minute. It's a scam in that all right, so it's not a scam, but they are taking
If you sell me your house for lower, that's on you. That's you're in a situation where you need money more than the house.
Yeah, but yes. Sorry. So this is a flim flam. It's not a scam. It's a flim flam. Like
It's a business transaction.
Right. So I think this is like, do not do this. If you have, unless you need money to pay for someone, your heart operation like tomorrow.
Do you remember the "We Buy Ugly Houses" signs? Like brilliant. Those were everywhere.
They are perfectly designed for the audience they intend to hit. I think where healthcare providers do it is they make the communication about themselves. They talk about themselves, and they use big words and too many words.
So I feel like I touched this just a little bit with the running post that I shared, where I was targeting very clearly, look, if you're a runner, you're willing to run through the pain. Pain's not the problem for you. Your problem is you're concerned that you're going to break something or tear something, which is going to take you out of the next race. So if you want to come in to rule out that there is danger in running through the pain,
rule out.
I'm your guy. I'm not going to tell you not to run. I'm not going to tell you you can't do it. Come in here. I'll tell you you're safe and just keep doing it. Like that is a little bit of kind of what you're referencing here, using copywriting, using persuasion in a positive way to help people get the solution they want. Coincidentally, we got our spam post in the comments for cheap viewers right as soon as you started the segment on the spam text messages.
And I clicked it, and now I'm getting alerts from my bank that I've been hacked. I don't know what happened. How'd that happen?
All right, guys, let's wrap the show. I'll start the parting shots. Parting shots. I mean, I go back to, and I've shared this before. I think the most important thing we do is look at where we spend our time, you know, and spending my time with you guys, spending my time with the communities we have on social media. It makes me a better business owner. It makes me a better person. I hear new ideas and new concepts, and it makes me look at things differently. And I appreciate you all, the 37 people that are watching this, plus the 2 guys that I spend Tuesdays and Thursdays with. So thank you. Be protective of the time you spend and spend it in the right places.
Parting shot is, if you're looking to charge out of pocket, you're most likely going to have to find new prospective patients, clients.
Yeah.
They are most likely not the current Medicare beneficiaries or insurance mindset clients or patients that are on your caseload or in your previous history of patients. I know that's challenging to consider, but I've been there. So just listen to this episode again. Maybe it's 2 different consumers, in my opinion. Tony agrees, and I think Jimmy's on board with it.
Yeah, you could do it, but like you said, you're gonna the juice versus squeeze ain't there. It's gonna take you too long to convert one. Go find 10 others with the same amount of effort. Mine would be I'm gonna give a nod to Chris and self-awareness, which is Chris is understanding why he's failing, and he's being open and honest, and he's saying, I am willing to be open and honest about why I'm not doing well, and can someone help me, and what are the solutions? He's crowdsourcing it. We might want to bring Chris in for a separate live stream and like crowdsource this and get more, because we're going to need more details, right? We're guessing at a lot of that things. I'm doing some self-assessment too. Like, how do I get more? I'm doing that whole 6 types of working genius, and it's explaining a lot. And it was worth $11 on Audible for the audiobook. But here's the thing. I'm going to have to put some of those things in action. Like, I know what you want. We're academics, right? Because we're PTs. We went to school for a billion years. You got to put some of those things to action, or nothing changes. When nothing changes, nothing changes. Follow the Dave Kittle Show on YouTube. Learn Medicare Billing. We've got a Facebook group too, and PT Pinecast. I'm aiming for 5 episodes a week coming up in 2 months with my virtual assistant. We will see you guys on Thursday. We're going to have a secret guest. We want to forward tease who the guest is, or make it a mystery?
Your call.
I don't want to announce it.
All right. It's a secret guest. I've never actually spoken to this guy.
We're opening up, but we're letting you know now.
Right. I've never talked to this person in person or remotely. I've never spoken to this guy, but been following and reading his stuff for close to 10 years. So I'm excited. This is like one of my white whales, getting them on the show. Thursday, 8:30 Eastern. We will